and thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and we are so pleased today to be joined by choreographer Claudia Schreier, who has her own company, Claudia Schreier and Company, and has created commissioned programs for the Vail International Dance Festival, Ballet East, the Alvin Ailey School, many of them. She's a little bit older than you may think. She is a fellow this year at NYU's Center for Ballet Arts, and thanks so much, Claudia, for for being with us. So you wanted to make sure that when we said the Claudia Schreier Company, that explain how you put that together.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be on your program.
We're thrilled at your success. You're going to teach us much about the world of ballet today. So you are working with dancers from the New York City Ballet Company, Alvin Ailey. Tell us a little bit about how you put your own company together.
Right. So Claudia Schreier and Company is a company of dancers that I have found over the years through friendships, through experiences that I've had on stage with others, through education, really everywhere. And I've had such a phenomenal group of dancers and supporters throughout the years. And from that, I've been able to collaborate with companies that I've then gleaned dancers from.
And so they come, and they're going to be dancing with you in July and August, and you have them from the New York City Ballet, and
yes,
all of these fabulous, fabulous. We have some photographs. Let's go to those if we can, and if you can talk us through some of what you have created. We'll go back to the process. This is, from a dance that you created. Tell us about that.
Yes, so this is my ballet Anemie that I created at Harvard University. After I graduated in 2009, I returned as a guest artist for the dance department. And this is my dear friend Elizabeth Claire Walker, along with New York City ballet dancer Daniel Applebaum. And this is a work that I created because I fell in love with the music, and that's where it always really starts for me. I felt compelled to create this work on a César Franck piano variation, prelude variation, and it was just an amazing experience to come back and work with dancers that I had studied with in the classroom, in the dance studio, and so then to bring it back on my own company in 2015 was an incredible experience.
And this?
This is Vigil. This is a ballet that I created also for my company. This is surrounding in the background you see Tapestry Choir, and Devon Doan from Dance Theater of Harlem, and Eleanor Hitt from Suzanne Farrell Ballet. And again, this is a work that I created because of the music. It originated when I sat with the director of Tapestry, and I fell in love with the sound of pure voice and what voice and dance could do together, and created this intimate space where music and dance could intertwine in a really special way.
Right. So now we always want to know from our guests where they place themselves in Black America. And what is that for you? Your mom is Jamaican, your dad is Jewish, so you have I would say unique, but not so unique anymore.
Not anymore, no. No, my story of being in Black America is that I am lucky to be a Black woman in America. As you know, immigration is an important topic that we are all focusing on at the moment, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my mother having come from Jamaica. She was born in the heart of the island in 1949, and I just went back actually to visit with my family and to see my mother's birthplace and to be there with 3 generations: my grandmother, my aunts, my mother, and my granduncle. There's really something profound about being able to connect to your roots in that way and then bring that back to America and integrate that into your own identity. And I feel that. So I would like to think that I'm unique, but I have a story that so many others have. I am the product of a Jamaican woman and a Jewish boy from Brooklyn, and his family comes from Eastern Europe, and they met in Mexico, and then they fell in love in Miami, and then I appeared in New York. Typical American story. And so it's truly, there's so many factors at play that make me who I am.
You started dancing when you were 3, and I hear mention of Harvard, so I know that unlike most professional dancers, choreographers, anybody in that world, you actually went to college. So talk to us about that, because it's generally a thing where if you're serious and if you're really good, then about 15 or 16, they expect you to dance and do nothing else. You know, so college future learnings go by the wayside. But so you started dancing at 3 and choreographing at 15.
Yes. So I like to say that I choreograph not in spite of having gone to college, but because of it. And I will go back from the age of 3 onward, and I could tell you every single thing along the way that brought me to where I am. But it was appearing in Cambridge in 2004 and discovering that the scope of what I believed to be my passion, ballet, extended so far beyond that. And to have exposure to different forms of dance expanded my understanding of what dance can be, what ballet can be. I had the unbelievable talents of Heather Watts teaching courses on Balanchine. I had Christine Dakin teaching us Martha Graham, Jennifer Scanlon with Lamone, Ruth Andrian with Paul Taylor. And so every single semester I was having this exposure to dance as dance education should be. And then I say on the side, but that was really my primary reason for being there was I was in school at Harvard University and having like education that changed me in innumerable ways. And so to be able to go between the classroom and the studio and have them start to fuse made me who I am.
Right. And you majored in sociology,
I did.
Is that right?
Yes.
So are you using it in your dance life?
I'm sure I am. It's not something conscious, but I'm absolutely sure that I am.
Great. So you are at NYU now, and in their ballet center, and it is the Virginia Toulmin Fellowship for Women Choreographers that you have. And we should point out that this is a very necessary thing to be in existence, because you don't hear a lot about women choreographers, certainly not Black women choreographers. So tell us what that constitutes.
Absolutely. So I am in residence for the semester, and the Toulmin Fellowship is in support of emerging and mid-career female choreographers. It provides a stipend for the semester, it provides studio space, it provides office space, and the unofficial part of that is that you are in concert with these unbelievable minds on a daily basis. So you have scholars who may not be from a dance background necessarily, they might be specialists in Russian history, or in science, or in psychology. But everyone has this unifying focus and passion, which is finding out how ballet specifically can relate to and inform the greater conversation. And so I am there as an artist primarily, but I'm also there to develop my voice in as many ways as possible.
And I was asking you before, I hear the influence of the music that you put into creating some of your dances. The first one we're going to take an actual look at is Pulse. Tell us first what that's all about. Did that come from the music first, or?
Absolutely. Yeah? So Pulse I created, again, for my company back in 2015. The music is the first movement of a piano concerto by a Dutch composer named Douwe Eisinga. And I had originally encountered Douwe's music when I created my ballet harmonic for the Columbia Ballet Collaborative back in 2013. And as I went through his work, this piano concerto just grabbed me. I actually ended up using the third movement for the Ballet Academy East when I choreographed on their students. There's a larger ensemble work for 22 students.
And Pulse is about?
Pulse is about the music. It really is. It's about the music, and it's about energy, to not make it too literal. There is an electric current that runs through the music, and it's driving, and I can't sit still when I listen to it, and I can tell that it influences my dancers.
Okay, let's take a look and let's talk about it a little bit more on the other side. very complicated. So talk to us about how you plot that out so that everybody remembers where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing. How does that work?
Well, I certainly can't take credit for them learning or remembering it. I work with a lot of brilliant minds. But when I'm creating it, again, start with the music, and I listen to it more times than you could ever imagine, start to finish, and that shapes for me what I'm envisioning. And so from that, I can then start to detail what movement qualities is coming out. You won't see a classical ballet. You could, but I don't. Something more contemporary comes out of me listening to that, and so it still has a classical base, but something else inside me starts to move, and that's where I draw the movement from.
And do you dance it for them and tell, or?
I try to. I definitely can't do that, but I try. I say my leg's here, yours needs to be here.
Right.
But it's kind of breaking it down. I have these notebooks where I'll have detailed notes with stick figures and little notes that only I could understand, and then from there I'll come into the studio, and then it's trial by error. You see what works and what doesn't, and inevitably things will shift for the better when you are working with live bodies, because they can inform the process as well.
Right. Let's look at another one. It's called Solitaire. And what was the inspiration for that?
Again, from the music. Yeah. This was an incredible honor that Damien Wetzel, the director of Vail International Dance Festival, gave to me. And I was searching for something that was a little bit out of my comfort zone, perhaps a little bit more classical than I was used to. But I was given the opportunity to set it on the dancers of New York City Ballet, 3 dancers, and then 1 from Dance Theater of Harlem. And it was to be performed to live music with Cameron Grant from New York City Ballet.
Wow, that's a big deal, live music. When you get to that
and you don't
point.
get that very often.
Right.
It's much more rare than it should be.
Right.
And then with the Catalyst Quartet. And so I wanted to find something for a piano quintet that could pull a little something extra out of myself, from the dancers, from the space. And then it was premiered at the Ford Amphitheater in Vail, which is this gorgeous, gorgeous open air space with flowers in the background, and the sun goes down, and you can't replicate that, really.
Okay. Let's take a look. Sure. Solitaire. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, congratulations on this tremendous success. Now, perhaps I want your point of view. We have a young dancer in our family. There are, 20 girls and 2 boys, and yet when you get to the top of the ballet world, all the men are running almost everything, and they're choreographing all of the dances. Tell us what you think happens. I mean, there are some people who think that women in this world are taught to be submissive in a way and to follow orders and stand at the bar, and there's this culture where the boys are given more freedom, and therefore as they grow up they think that they can do more, and in fact do. Tell me I'm wrong. What's your experience?
I won't tell you you're wrong. I will tell you that I am here because I was given the opportunity to try as many things as I could, as many times as I wanted to, and that has made all the difference.
You mean I know in your family, but in the ballet world as well?
Yes.
So you were encouraged and.
I was encouraged on every level, and again, college had a huge impact on me because when I wasn't in class and I wasn't taking technique class, I was given the opportunity to choreograph for the student company for Harvard Ballet Company. I was choreographing for Harvard Contemporary Dance Ensemble. Or dancing for Harvard Contemporary Dance Ensemble, choreographing for the dance department. And late at night, we would be there in the studio until 9, 10, 11 with dancers who had plenty to do, plenty on their plates, but were also hungry for collaboration, hungry for an artistic creative process. And so it was not limited in that way.
So, but do you think that it's selective, that it's a choice that girls and women in ballet want to dance and not necessarily to create or to manage? Because I think ABT, the American Ballet Theater, is the only major company that had a woman at its head. And there's a woman who's going in now as the new president of Lincoln Center, which is great, Deborah Spar from Barnard College. So that'll be nice to the first woman there. But for instance, in the opera, only the second opera written by a woman performed at the Met in 100 years. So you think it's self-selective or what?
I don't. I do believe that there is a strong history of discrimination, and though I haven't necessarily experienced that personally, I would never deny it. I would hope that going forward we can identify how crucial the need is for early access to the arts and to arts education.
Right.
Because what my fear is that people are looking at the highest level, and there are dancers coming out of companies who are either injured or at the end of their careers between the ages of their mid-20s to mid-30s. It's not really realistic for someone to just wake up and become a choreographer one day. I have been listening to classical music since I came out of the womb. I was surrounded by Schubert and Haydn and Handel, and
Sure.
it was a part of my it's been a part of my DNA. And I was going to see ballet performances, New York City Ballet and American Ballet Theater, from age 3 on, and so I didn't know that I shouldn't. I didn't know that it was strange not to do that, but I think young women in particular are not encouraged to explore that aspect of their creativity. The dancer and the creator are not one and the same, and I think we need to be able to identify that and identify the issue, and then find the solution.
Right. You were telling me that one of your mentors was Wendy Whalen from the New York City Ballet, and by complete coincidence, I saw the film Restless Creature about her life. Talk to us a little bit about her.
Wendy is one in a million, and I, like so many of my mentors and so many huge influences in my life, I can't believe that I get to know them in any capacity. She is a trailblazer. She comes from the Balanchine tradition, from the SAB tradition, and yet has managed to find new paths in an entirely new career. She is redefining what it means to be a ballet dancer, what it means to be a dancer post company, and it's an inspiration.
Oh, when you say post company, because what the film is about was her coming to terms with ending her career after 30 years of dancing with the New York City Ballet, and she was not ready to go, but then found this new life. We have a clip that shows some of the dances that she's created with her own company. Let's take a look at that. When you look at her, what do you see? So she retired at 47, I think, and is still.
That's a feat in itself.
She, like you, has a company, that she puts together as well. When you see her dancing, first of all, what's made mention of during the entire film is her rail thinness, which is the Balanchine way, right? So what do you see when you see her dancing?
I see freedom, especially in clips like that. I see that she is finding a part of herself that she perhaps didn't know was there for a long time, and it's been a progression like everything else. She found a new way of moving when she started working with Christopher Wheeldon, and again with her own company. But it's finding yourself within the structure you've been given. It doesn't mean that you have to negate your past and all that you come from, but it's you know, if you take off those point shoes and you throw them away. I discovered a part of myself in doing that when I choreographed Harmonic. I had been doing ballets on point for years, and I decided this one was going to be on flat, and it showed me new ways of moving that I could then pull back in to create works like Pulse that I put back on point. So everything is connected, whether you're talking about the shoe or the identity. It's finding your place in all of it.
I was telling you earlier that I was standing in the cafe of my granddaughter's ballet school, and next to a young woman who was filling a plastic bag with ice for her. She looked at me and she said, "Yeah, for my toes." My brutal. You know, the life of the ballerina, the dancer is brutal. And the makers of the Wendy Whalen film were both parents of School of American Ballet students, and they said that the culture has to change because the children are not expected to get college educations, and they are expected to be rail thin and devote their entire everything to the dance world. Do you think it needs to be changed?
I would broaden that to incorporate the scope of what needs to be changed, because you can look at a school, one school in New York City, or you can look at the fact that there are a lot of kids who aren't even having opportunity to go to that school. And when you think about the arts in general, dance, music, you're having a conversation with the past. There's a conversation with history that's taking place. And so when you are limiting the scope of that discussion and you are limiting the number of participants in that conversation, then it dilutes the art form going forward. And so it's not just a question of, can ballet survive if the body type changes a little bit? It's, can ballet survive if we're not bringing enough people in to influence the art form going forward?
Exactly. And of course, we know that Misty Copeland at American Ballet Theater had this huge fight. We did a wonderful interview with her, our preceding dancer. And she had this fight. I mean, she was being told constantly that her body was not fitting in the image of I guess that was the image that Balanchine had created, you know. So now you're discovering that are options being made for different looks? Do you find that that's what you certainly are choreographing for the different looks?
Absolutely, but I think they also have been for some time. And if you look back to Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, their dancers have been performing works from Wayne McGregor doing Chroma to the quintessential Revelations, Alvin Ailey. It's a certain type of versatility that is so much a part of what defines the Ailey company. And so again, I would push that we not necessarily limit the definition of what ballet is or what ballet can be or what it has been. Dance Theater of Harlem is a very different company from Ailey, and yet one doesn't negate the other. They can all exist, and they should all be working in conversation to elevate the art form.
Right, right. And you're working with dancers from all of those companies, so you're
Blessed
getting quite the education and making quite the contribution. Towards the end of the show, we always ask our guests to finish the statement, the power, the strength of Black America lies in. What do you see that being?
The power and the strength of Black America lies in reclaiming the potential of our children and reclaiming our ability to do whatever we'd like to do.
Right, right. And you think that it's interesting that where you have the fellowship, everything is being brought in to inform dance, science, you say, and history, and all of that. And you think that is what dance can do in the opposite direction as well.
Absolutely. I think that the more that we acknowledge that a passion and a purpose can be intertwined, the more hope that we have.
Right, right. So what do you see yourself doing in the end? I mean, I hope you'll be running Lincoln Center one day, whether you want to or not, just go do it. Have you plotted, I'd like to run a company, run a school,
Those are all endeavors that I'm considering. I really do think that the more that I become involved with not just choreographing on professional dancers, but working with students, young students, college students, that the need for arts education, the need for exposure to music, exposure to the arts, exposure to integrating that into our schools in a really profound way is something that I want to focus on going forward.
Well, I want to thank you so much for making your huge contribution already. I know you'll be a major influence going forth in the artistic world. Thank you, Claudia Schreier, for being with us. And I look forward to this summer when her company, Claudia Schreier and Company, will be at the Joyce Theater in July and August. And I want to thank you all for joining us today on Black America. I'm Carol Jenkins. We'll see you the next time.